guys around from spring to fall, or did you kind of keep to that philosophy?
It really depends on the numbers that you have. As a general philosophy, I think we'd all like to have, 3, 4 deep guys and be able to say, hey, we're going to train, and every rep that you get is going to get you closer to being good at a position. So when you get into camp and you have the numbers that you do, we need to find some guys that are versatile. We're going to have to do that no matter what. We all have, some guys are more depth driven and I'm more trying to, what can we get good at, and then we'll go from there. And we're a little short at certain spots, going through the spring and the summer and stuff. So we're going to have to find some guys that have to be versatile.
Where are you, where do you feel like you're short, or not something that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, I think, we're probably at the tackle spot. We don't have as many bodies, that probably more than anything else. Yeah.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, Matthew was limited, I know, in the
Mhm.
spring. Just getting back out there today, I guess. I know
Yeah.
it's not full football. You guys aren't, full pads, all that. But just kind of how he looked, what were your first impressions of him out there being able to do pretty much everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have him back. Like I never worked with him in the past, but it's really good to have him out there. Number one, and I think he's easing into it. There's always going to be a little bit of, am I ready to go? You know what I'm saying? So, today's a good day to kind of get that going. We're in shorts and stuff like that. So, but I thought he looks good. I mean, again, we're running around in our underwear right now. So, but I like what I see so far. Yeah.
Zach, can you write?
I don't know if you think about this way or not, but
I can hear you.
all right, yeah. I don't know if you think about it this way or not, but if you can sort of go back to spring and where you wanted to start with this group, were there things, again, I recognize it's just one day in and it's not pads, but were there things that you could sort of see maybe upload from spring that guys had retained, guys had improved,
Yeah.
that you could just sort of say those building blocks are still there?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we had a good spring, and I do think that guys did a good job of retaining some information just based on today's practice. And these guys have been here. They've been doing a lot all summer, with the new rules and things like that. There's a lot of player-led things that they're able to kind of keep it alive, So we were able to install a lot today, and I did see I saw some good retention. I saw some good things, yeah.
Mike, on your right, and Sammy.
These guys have had a lot of fingers pointed at them over the last couple of years, and I know it's probably hard to capture kind of the psyche or the mentality of an entire group like this, but how would you describe kind of what their psyche is right now, kind of with that last 2 years in the review?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't here the last 2 years, and we're just starting all over, and I'm just, when you go into this thing in the beginning, I have a certain, the way that I coach a play, just an individual play and what we're doing and how we're calling it and the technique. So we have so many other things right now, and, building some confidence and having success, we're trying to get to that. We've got some guys that have played a lot of football, and so I feel like there's a quiet group that's confident, that have done some good things. It's there, we just have to put it all together, but I'm not trying to put the cart ahead of the horse right now. I mean, we got a lot of other things to do, and let's just slowly build this thing together and get it done. But I mean, I like the approach. I like the attitude. I like the willingness. Those things are all there,
Sammy in the back, then Daniel.
Coach, you have a bunch of redshirt freshmen, some true freshmen coming in. How do they need to develop to be able to fit into the rotation? Is it physically, is it mentally, or both?
Everything. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really hard for a true freshman to step in, even though we had some guys today that went with third string and got reps today, and they've only been here since July or June 11th. Super hard. Redshirt freshmen, yeah, we've got some guys that, need to keep coming along. A couple of guys that I think, well, I mean, Bray, Lynch, and Carter. I mean, Carter Smith is playing right now. I mean, he's right now first string. So those are young guys that are going to be playing for us a lot that need to come along, and then there's some other guys that need to just keep working, and it's going to be a long camp, and they're going to get their reps and they're going to get their work, and hopefully they can, working off of what you asked about retention and stuff like that, if they can just keep going in this direction, so.
Daniel on your right and Alec.
Coach, with whoever ends up at quarterback in the season opener likely starting their first ever college football game, how important is it to teach your offensive line during this fall camp, like how to communicate, how to properly communicate, especially to help out someone who's having the first time back there?
I think whether you had a veteran guy or a young guy, you got to protect the quarterback, so that goes without saying. You've got to you got to be productive in the run game, and so you've got some manageable down and distances and all those things that go together, But yeah, we got a real young guy, and I think we can take a lot off his plate, if we can be good when we're trying to run the ball and stuff like that, and kind of shorten down his playlist. And here's the things you got to be good at, for us to move the chains, But it'll be more on the field production than anything else. I think they got a really good mindset, and they're confident and stuff like that, and everybody's just got to do their job more than anything else.
Alec on your left and then Jack last one.
Coach, you talked a little bit earlier about building confidence for your group. Can you kind of explain to me how you are planning to do that throughout the rest of training camp?
Yeah, I'm just a big believer in, you're going to build that by a lot of reps, just like anything else, it takes 3,000 reps to master a skill, like that's like a known number right there. If you're like a kinesiology major, it takes, that's a lot of reps, you're probably not going to realistically get to that, but we want to get as many as we can. And we want that, whatever we're doing in practice and individual, we want that to carry over into team, and we don't all of a sudden want to be running different schemes and things. And, but I think when players drill and it makes sense, and then it carries over, and then they watch it on film and they see themselves doing good things, like I can do this. That's how you build confidence right there. They see themselves out there. Did we do a good job of teaching in the spring? When we had those moments, when we had those 15 practices, do we do a good job in our OTAs? Are we talking about the same things? Being a good coach is being a good teacher. Do we have good lesson plans? Does it make sense? Are we all over the board? And so our kids are all over the board. Are we staying with the same things? Are they hearing the same things over and over again? And if they're doing that and they're sound, and then they're going out on the field and that's working for them, I think that's how you build the confidence right there. But it started December 5th.
All right, Jack last one right in front.
Yeah, with the transfers, Max Longman and Noah Boltikoff, just what's kind of been your impression of them, positives and negatives, and do you feel like those guys have a chance to contribute this year, just joining the team after one season?
Yeah, so Max came in and was able to go through the spring. The positive, I thought he just got better and better and showed me a lot of things like, hey, this guy is right on the edge to being a starter. Okay, so he is going to push. He's smart. He's tough. Downside, the negative, he had a little bit of, he had finished playing, and his knee was bothering him a little bit. So you didn't, but that's kind of gone away, and I'm seeing him, going on at this rate right here. So excited about him, to have a guy to plug in, and to push too. I'm not telling him, hey, this is who you are, your number 2 guy right now. He's done some good things. He has starting reps in the spring, so I'm excited about him and how he's going to help our front 5. Noah just got here. Noah went through the OTAs, a little bit of the OTAs, and kind of showed that versatility piece. We started him out at tackle just to make sure that he would maximize reps, so he would be out there and hear and things and just kind of learn the offense. Moved him back inside, so he's a smart kid. Okay, so that's a positive. Totally committed. He's very squared away dude, so I feel like where we plug him in, again, it just goes back to, finding a home for him, not playing musical chairs if we don't have to, and get him good fast. And it's probably going to be in one of those middle three spots right there. And that's where we're not as strong on the edges. Yep.
All right, thanks, Bob.
I couldn't get his attention.
You got another question?
I just got one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask about. I recognize the OTAs. I recognize the idea the summer OTAs are important for any position group, but especially offensive line. When you're trying to get five guys synced up together, you're trying to, maybe mix and match and figure out where a guy works best. Just how important is that development to the summer calendar for you as the coach of that position?
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. There's ones where we can have them like 6 practices, and then there's a bunch of player-led ones. So I think the ones that we have them, it's a great time to just keep installing, and it's kind of like the NFL where you have about 3 or 4 different times where you're going to reinstall, and that leads to that retention. So then we can go out there and run 2 team periods, and it's not like, what are we doing? It looks like football. Let's put it that way. All right. It actually looks like football, so it's a really great deal, because you think back, it wasn't that long ago. We never had any of that stuff before, like day one out there, and these guys they had their spring, which was, might as well have been a million years ago. No OTAs, nothing since. And then you show up out here and it's the first time. That's when you see people going, you have a lot of busts and it doesn't look like football anymore. So it's been good. The only problem is everybody else is doing it. So it's not like you got some great example or advantage, right? And then the OTAs, when it's player driven, the only thing that I'm a little, when the technique and things can kind of go off the track a little bit and you're not there to correct it. That's the downside of that stage right there. But, it's great, and it's great for their development and all that. But, everybody else is doing it too. So, but I thought out there today, like I said, this showed, retention, and it looked like football.
All right, thanks,
Good.
Bob.
Yep.